All right, picture this. An AI model so powerful, its own creators basically called it a master key for cyber attacks, something way too dangerous for the public, so they locked it down, right? Gave access only to a handful of tech giants. But then, on the very day it was announced, it leaked. This is the wild story of Anthropic's Mythos.
So to really get what happened here, we have to start with the legend that Anthropic built around this thing. This wasn't just any old AI. They described it as a digital ghost key, something that could unlock and exploit the very software we all use every single day. The hype was intense. And you know what? It was deliberately a little intimidating.
So yeah, Anthropic creates this incredibly powerful tool for finding security flaws. But they immediately saw the flip side, the danger. They thought, hey, in the wrong hands, this thing is a recipe for absolute chaos. The responsible move, they figured, was to keep it under lock and key, far, far away from a public release.
Their solution was something called Project Glasswing. The whole idea was to give this cyber weapon to the good guys first. Companies like Apple, Google, Amazon. They'd get to use Mythos to find the holes in their own armor, patching them up before a similar AI could be used by actual bad actors. It was all about proactive defense.
And look, Mythos wasn't just talk. It was genuinely powerful. To give you an idea, Mozilla used it and found 271 previously unknown vulnerabilities in the Firefox browser. Just Firefox. So yeah, this thing was like a bloodhound for security flaws, which in Anthropic's mind only proved how dangerous it could be.
But here's the twist, the big one. Despite this high-tech lockdown, despite all the warnings, this digital superweapon got out. And it didn't take some sophisticated movie-style attack. It happened on the very first day it was announced.
And we're not just talking about a quick peek either. According to reports, a whole private group of users got full access and started using it on the regular. This immediately brought up a pretty chilling question. If some small group of enthusiasts could get in, who else might be secretly playing around with the world's most powerful cyber tool?
So of course, that became the billion-dollar question. Who did it? Who was the brilliant cyber sleuths that cracked Anthropic's defenses? Was it a state-sponsored team? Some shadowy criminal syndicate? Speculation just went wild. But the reality? Well, it was a lot less dramatic.
So how did this whole thing actually go down? Forget everything you've seen in the movies about hacking. The real story of the Mythos leak is, well, it's surprisingly human.
That's it. Seriously. No grand infiltration. It wasn't even a hack. A worker at a third-party company who had perfectly legitimate access just shared their keys with a few friends in a private online group. The end.
The whole process was just shockingly simple. It starts with one person sharing a key. That group, now holding the login, basically just used public info from an old data breach to guess the URL. There was no code breaking, no genius hacking, just shared keys and a little bit of smart guesswork.
So what was their master plan with this all-powerful AI? World domination? Nah, not even close. According to the reports, they were just AI enthusiasts, giganerds as one person called them. Their goal was literally just playing around with new models, and they were doing basic stuff like building websites to try and stay under the radar.
As you can probably guess, when the real story of this breach came out, the internet had an absolute field day. The story was just too perfect, too ironic to let it go.
This comment from a Reddit moderator really nails the mood. The community just saw it as a spectacular cell phone. All that marketing about Mythos being too dangerous just ended up making Anthropic look kind of foolish when its security was beaten by someone sharing a password.
And this one right here gets to the heart of the joke. It's like a master locksmith who can't figure out how to lock his own front door. The irony of a cybersecurity super tool being so poorly secured was just chef's kiss perfect.
Of course, the forums absolutely exploded. A lot of people were convinced it had to be some kind of PR stunt. The running joke quickly became that this world-class cyber weapon was probably being used for, wait for it, erotic role-playing. But underneath all the jokes, there were some really sharp points being made, like no AI can stop simple human error. And the most obvious question of all, why didn't they just ask Mythos how to secure itself?
Okay, so beyond the memes and the corporate facepalm, what's the real lesson here? It's a funny story, for sure, but it actually reveals a lot about AI, security, and the kind of challenges we're all facing. This really puts it all in perspective. We're sort of primed to fear this super-intelligent AI villain, right? A Skynet-level threat. But the Mythos story shows that, right now, the biggest vulnerabilities aren't in the code. They're in us, in human behavior.
The real dangers are simple mistakes, believing the marketing hype and forgetting the basics, like not sharing your password. At the end of the day, this whole high-level tech drama boils down to a few lessons that apply to everyone. First, people will probably always be the weakest link in any security system. Second, be skeptical of the hype. Sometimes too dangerous is just really good marketing. And finally, it's a huge reminder that the safety of the tools you use every day, even at the most elite companies, often fails because of the most basic, simple mistakes.
So ultimately, the Mythos leak wasn't really a story about a rogue AI at all, was it? It was a story about people. And it leaves us with a really critical question to think about as these tools get more and more powerful. Where should we really be focusing our concern? On the AI or on the humans holding the keys?